Here are Ruth Carlson and Alec Scott, both of whom have writings about San Francisco and California. Now, Alec has written, I believe, the oldest San Francisco, the Guide to Historic Treasures. Is that right, Alec? There it is.
Yeah, that's right. It looks at the oldest, this, that, and the other thing. The oldest blue jeans, the oldest restaurant, Tadit Grill, oldest rainbow flag, suicide hotline, a sort of odd mix of things. So,
I want to double back to that, but I also want to point to Ruth's thing. And Ruth was on with us on KGO a couple of times. She has Secret San Francisco, a guide to the weird, wonderful, and obscure, which has all of this great stuff and hidden treasures about San Francisco. Even if you've lived in San Francisco and been around San Francisco and the Bay Area, there's a bunch of stuff in this book, Secret San Francisco, a guide to the weird, wonderful, and obscure. But then that was so successful. She did also Secret California, a guide to the weird, wonderful, and obscure in California. So you guys, when it comes to weird, wonderful, and obscure treasures of California and the Bay Area, you guys are without peer. So it's very cool to have you both with us.
Thank you.
Thank you. And to hear that voice again is amazing. Thank you.
Oh, thanks, Alec. Yeah. Well, Kim, chime in here anytime because there are all kinds of questions. One of the reasons we're having you both on is because you are going to be, is it the Commonwealth Club that you'll be visiting on the 24th, I think is the date I saw? Yeah.
That's right, at 5:30. Alec and I he's going to talk about oldest San Francisco. I'm going to talk about Secret California. We're going to have a trivia contest. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that does sound like fun. We'll remind everybody again before we say goodbye. Alec, let me start with you. It's been a heartbreak for a lot of us who love the Bay Area to watch the changes. And I imagine for you who've chronicled so much of the treasures that have survived history, what are your thoughts on what's happened? And I'm wondering if you've seen any of those treasures sort of as casualties of changes in the city.
Yeah, well, between COVID and other developments, it's been a bit of a tough time. When you look at stories like I looked at, you realize the resilience of the city over time, coming through the amazing, of course, the quake and fire in 1906. And but yeah, they're longstanding institutions that are struggling. The old Art Institute, the famously Anchor Brewery is looking for a white knight to save it. The oldest tiki bar news was maybe it might be struggling. So I have loved San Francisco since first visiting in 1988, and we moved here about 15 years ago. I feel that it has a lot of juice left in it, but yeah, it's got to reinvent again and find ways through the difficult stuff. So
it's funny, the promise of tech was realized. I mean, tech came in and it transformed south of Market and it transformed the city, and all of this money and all of these people and all of this brain power, it all came in. It's hard to imagine that would go sideways, Ruth, you know?
Well, yeah, it is. But we've seen ups and downs in the city forever. I mean, go back in time to oldest San Francisco. But also now they say that AI is moving in like crazy into the financial district. So I personally feel like it's going to be another big boom. And I also feel like, you know, they talk about the doom loop or whatever. You can't take away the beauty of San Francisco. You can't take away the essence of San Francisco. And the financial district may have been suffering, but the neighborhoods are doing great. I mean, North Beach is on fire. There's so many new restaurants. There's so many new music places. So I think it really depends on what you talk about. It's a small city, but the neighborhoods are doing great.
No, that's interesting to hear. I couldn't agree more. I just think it's so spectacular as a place to be, and the vistas take your breath away every day, you know. But so tell me about the things that make your list, Alec, as places that, you know, really are hidden gems and treasures in the city of San Francisco that are sort of, one shouldn't miss them.
You know, that I tried to retell some of the stories that people know a bit about, the Ferry Building, Alcatraz, the Presidio, Mission Dolores, but there were lots of things that I found that I did not know, even as a sort of reporter on the city. So there's this really old hat shop that they make hats. They made a hat for Obama, and for years it was run by a succession of men, and then 4 women took it over and learned the trade, and so it was great to see the old mechanisms that they use to make hats, and the transformation that can happen with the hat. And it was right next to the oldest tiki bar, so got to go there right afterwards.
Where is the oldest tiki bar? You've mentioned it twice now.
Oh,
it sounds to me like you're a frequent visitor to the oldest.
Well, there you go. Trader Sam's. Of course, a lot of people know the Tonga Room, which is more well known in the basement of the Fairmont Hotel. But Trader Sam's is the last, sort of the oldest one in the world at present, and it's very basic. It's not like lots of idols and lots of floating islands like they have in the Tonga Room, but it does the hurricane. It does the things you might hope for, and so yeah. But I don't know what the upshot is, but I read a couple of days ago that they may be looking for a new owner also. So.
Wow.
I was reading an article recently, I think it was in the Chronicle, not to take the whole show to a downturn, but this is my specialty today, that apparently in old San Francisco, when they decided to pull all the cemeteries out and move them to Colma, all these bodies were left behind and they didn't really move them. And so that now when you get in construction, even in south of Market, in different areas all around the city where there were all these dots of cemeteries in neighborhoods like Russian Hill and everywhere else, now that sometimes they find bodies when they're digging, to build things.
Yeah. Ruth, it's true.
Ruth, is that a hidden treasure, finding a body?
Have you found one, Ruth?
No, I'm not gonna. No comment.
What?
I shouldn't have outed you that way. So
I read that about the bodies. I do know, and I'm sure Alec knows this too, that there are headstones in various places in San Francisco because the poor people, they moved the rich people, but the poor people, if they didn't pay to have their bodies moved, they took the headstones, and they're in Bernal Heights, and they're in Mason, and they're along the street, certain places, and you'll see stuff. You're like, what is that?
What is it? There was when I lived in an apartment at Fell in Divisadero, we had a garage that was half cement and half just sand, like it was nothing but just built on sand. And there was a headstone back there, not in place, but just like leaning up against the side of the wall.
Just like,
wow. Is that crazy?
I may have died here. I may not. Yeah.
Right. Who knows? Just a headstone left behind. Yeah.
Yeah. I interviewed the owners of the oldest funeral home, a family right out of 6 Feet Under, and they had responsibility for moving a bunch of graves from near the Legion of Honor near Land's End down to Colma. But yeah, still many remain, and so yeah.
Yeah.
Michael says, Kim, they call that the dead center of town. There you go. All right, everybody. There you go.
All right.
No ding for that? Okay. All right, there you go. So it's fun to hear both the stuff that has survived and is special about San Francisco. And the thing that I really take away from this conversation is that you guys feel as though San Francisco, oddly, is if it were a stock, you'd put in a buy order. You feel as though it's on a comeback, actually. And I mean, the media is slow to pick up on this because the smash and grab stories and the sense of both lawlessness and also confusion with the San Francisco board, the soups and those who run San Francisco seems constant. But both of you feel as though that works itself out and San Francisco is resurgent.
I do personally. I mean, I live in Russian Hill, and I love my neighborhood. I love North Beach. I love Fisherman's Wharf. The Tenderloin is obviously an issue. It's bad. It's wrong that that the city hall has got to get its act together. But it's coming back. There's no more smash and grabs. They won't allow that anymore. I know. I used to go to the Walgreens and I'd see people, Ross, and I'd see people walking out with big bags of stuff, and I'm like, what?
God, that's just wild,
guard.
Isn't it? Yeah.
There was a security guard there, and I'm like, I guess you can't do anything, huh? And I'm like, no. And I'm, why am I paying? But they don't allow that anymore. The city is Union Square is all cleaned up. They have cops there, and they also have these. They're bringing all the retired cops back to be goodwill ambassadors. They're there. So Union Square itself, although they did have that Dior break in at 5:30 in the morning the other day, but That is
If a Goodwill ambassador had been there at 5:30, I wonder what would have happened. Yeah.
Dior for everyone.
lazy bums. Yeah, those lazy bums. It is totally cleaned up. So no, I personally feel, and I think part of it might be Gavin Newsom's putting pressure on San Francisco. I personally feel he wants to run for president, and I think he's looking at San Francisco to fix it up. But that's just my personal opinion.
Here's a question from Lori. Isn't Cannery a historic landmark or something protected? It's Steinbeck related. Can you speak to that?
Well, that's in Monterey, right? Yeah, Cannery Row.
Yeah,
Well,
down
Cannery
in Monterey.
Cannery in San Francisco also, isn't there or not?
Yes.
Am I wrong?
Oh, is there?
Alec, do you know much about it?
I don't. The comment was referencing Steinbeck, so that would be the one down in Cannery Row, which inspired that amazing novel. But I don't know about the Cannery complex in San Francisco.
It's very old in San Francisco, but I don't know if it's a historic landmark. It probably
but is it the oldest? Because then I would know about it.
Also, a nightclub called the Hurricane on Pacific Street. I have a picture of my 99-year-old mother there in 1944, says Mackay. Wow.
She's 99 now rather than then, I guess. Yeah.
Ruth, your book is really all about California, and you were mentioning that you have some secret places, not necessarily in the Bay Area, but a little beyond.
Yes, well, Alec told me about this one, and this is a find. If you're in Fresno or driving through Fresno, you've got to stop by the Forestier Underground Gardens. It is it's an underground, basically, mansion. It was going to be a resort, but the Baldassare Forte, try saying that. He was an Italian immigrant, and he worked construction during the day, and at night he only had a pickaxe and a shovel, and he built this whole underground mansion. It was going to be a resort, and he had no windows, outdoor bathtub, but I mean, concrete benches, a chapel, a fishing pond, a grotto, and a garden where you walk above and lean down to pick out the oranges. And it's actually aquarium, a ballroom. It's pretty amazing. And he did it all on his own. He had a fiance, but she, for some reason, didn't want to live underground. So he
Wow.
And before the resort opened, sadly alone.
Like the mole people, it seems kind of dark and depressing with no windows.
Well, actually, no, it really isn't. There's actually a lot of light because a lot of.
I'm sure they handle the lighting issue, Kim.
Thank you.
It's just, but it's
There it is. Wow.
Yeah, if it was an Airbnb, it would be like everybody would be there and do an Instagram.
Right.
It's an historic landmark, but it's very cool. Thank you, Alec, for that recommendation.
I always felt, wow, that really is cool looking, man.
Yeah.
So now it's just a tourist spot?
Now, you pay money and get a tour, and it's interesting. It's worth going to.
I always felt one of the best treasures, and just to be clear, Ruth has written a book about treasures in San Francisco and the Bay Area, and also one about California, two different books. The spot in California that I always felt was so great was that Hurst Castle. I love that.
Oh, yeah.
And
everybody just goes to the regular tour. I was just recently in Morro Bay, and they have like tours of the kitchen and tours of.
Oh, wow, that's great.
Cool.
They didn't used to have that.
If you're a member, which unfortunately I wasn't, and you pay a lot of money, they're now letting people swim in the pool, which they never did.
Oh my God, that's incredible.
It's expensive though. Like it's pretty pricey.
Yeah. In the past, only like the Hurst family could do it.
You can't put a price tag on a good swim at the Hurst Castle, Kim. I'm sure it's well worth it.
All right,
I remember that.
Mark's paying.
That's right.
Mark Thompson show field trip. That's right.
I just feel like that's a great. There used to be 3 tours of Hurst Castle. There it is, the pool. I think there are several pools, and there's an indoor pool too. I know because it's got this incredible mosaic that I think is gold leaf or something. Everything is it's Trumpian in how over the top the this gilded world was. But there it is, the indoor pool. Thank you. I always felt like that's really cool, an indoor pool like that. I'm sorry. And then look at the lantern. It's just gorgeous. God, the things. There used to be 3 different tours anyway. And I used to take all 3 of them. Sometimes it would take 2 days because the tours are so long. But I just think that's a great stop. So I recommend it. Most people probably watching this have been there before.
Well, those movie stars used to go swimming there naked back in the
Well,
30s.
that's a very good.
I remember
please.
driving near there and double taking on the zebra running next to the road and realizing that it was a leftover from Hurst's big menagerie. We're like, is that a zebra? I think that's
Really?
a zebra. So yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Wow.
And this, I think what happened with Hurst Castle, just to round it out, was that it became the maintenance and the taxes were so prohibitively high that the family just, surrendered it back to the state, sort of. And it's run by the state of California, I believe. Well, I'm excited for your Commonwealth Club appearance, guys. It'll be the 24th, and it starts at 5 o'clock. Is that what you said, Ruth?
5:30.
5:30.
Commonwealthclub.org to get tickets.
Commonwealthclub.org.
Yeah.
And Alec and Ruth will be there, and there's trivia, and it should be a lot of fun. I mean, the Commonwealth Club has so many great things, and this really seems like a fun one, So congratulations. Kim, Ruth was the queen of the newsroom back at KRON when I was
believe
there.
it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All the boys were circling her desk all the time. Some things never change, everybody. But check her out along with Alec at the Commonwealth Club. And again, there they both are. The oldest San Francisco secret, California. The Commonwealth Club on the 24th. Ruth Carlson and Alec Scott. And check out their books. His is The Oldest San Francisco. Hers, Secret California, A Guide to the Weird, Wonderful, and Obscure. And also Secret San Francisco, A Guide to the Weird, Wonderful, and Obscure. Thank you, guys. Stay in touch. Come visit again.
Bye.
Thanks so much. Yeah, bye.
Hi, it's Mark, and I thought that was great. Hit the notification bell. You'll know whenever there's a new video being dropped, and please subscribe to our channel to help us save the universe.